Hey folks, so some of you might be into aquariums, and if you are, it can be really hard to know what to stock it with, what fish and what plants to have a really healthy aquarium. Well, this is my aquarium. I'm really proud of it. It's a dual 180 litre and it's got the inbuilt filtering, this big unit here. Now, contrary to what you'll read in the instruction manual, you don't need to change all of the filter sponges costing an absolute fortune every couple of weeks. Instead, what I tend to do is just open it up, change that top one that you see there, which you change roughly every 2 weeks, and every week just give it a good squeeze out in aquarium water, and that's fine. There's also 2 sponges beneath that, just give those a squeeze as well. The ones below it are the ones that contain your beneficial bacteria. You don't need to give those a squeeze until roughly every couple of months, because if you do wash them too much, you won't have any beneficial bacteria. Now, with the setup I've got here, I do a water change of about 20% every week. And at the moment when I do a water test, I've got no nitrates, no nitrites. Everything is super healthy. And as you can see in the water column, the water is crystal clear. I'm really, really happy with that. It just shows you don't need to go over the top and put loads of chemicals and water clearing stuff in there. It's a load of nonsense that costs you a lot of money. The only chemicals I put in are when I do the water change, I just treat the top-up water with a pre-treatment to make sure that there's no chlorine in that water. That's standard, but besides that, no other chemicals. So, what fish have I got in here? So you're going to want to know what fish. Well, let's start with them. First of all, I've got a Betta Fish. Now, some people say, oh, you can't keep those with other fish in a community tank, but you can. As long as the fish has a good temperament, you can't always judge that, isn't very aggressive, and also females. Now, I believe females are less aggressive. I haven't sexed this one actually, but she or he just gets on really well with every other fish, never attacks them, and it's an absolutely beautiful fish to look at as well, as you can see. I've then got a load of neon and Cardinal Tetra. There's a bit of a mixture. These are these bright blue fluorescent-y ones. There's about 30 of those in total. They school around and just do stuff. Now, they are quite prone to disease when you buy these from some aquarium stockists. Just keep an eye on them, look for white spots, look for white growths around their mouths. But generally, I've had probably maybe 2 fatalities over the last 6 months, so that's pretty good going. I've then got a lot of guppies, like this beautiful one here. Guppies are the easiest fish to look after. They tend to be low quality due to the gene pool in various aquariums, just overbreeding them and inbreeding them. So when you do buy guppies, just make sure you buy them from someone reputable. Ideally, buy them privately. They seem to actually be better than if you buy them from the big aquariums. I've got about 7 or 8 guppies in there in total. I've got more females to male. You can see there's a male chasing the female around at the moment. Always have more females than you do males. Because otherwise the females get too stressed from being harassed all the time. Sounds like real life, doesn't it? Now, into the other more tropical fish, I've got some German Ram Cichlids. Here's one of them, a male, absolutely beautiful fish, really beautiful. They can be quite hard to sex. This is a male, however. You can normally tell the females because they have a slightly redder patch on their rear belly. But absolutely stunning fish, as you can see. I've got 4 of those, 2 pairs. The other male is there. You only ever keep them in pairs because otherwise they fight. And for a tank of this size, really 1 pair or 2 pairs maximum, because they are very territorial once they have, once they've laid eggs. They breed quite easily. I've then also got some shrimpies in here. I like to call them shrimpies. I've got some bamboo shrimps, as you can see. There's 4 of those. They are fascinating to watch. They're really big. They live for a couple of years. They're very, very hard to breed because they need to be in salty, fresh water as well, a mixture. And therefore, they're very, very hard to breed unless you really know what you're doing. But they're great. They just float around, pick up any floating debris, and they clean the ground. They're a bit of a ground crew. Also hiding under there are what's called Doras. They're brilliant little things. I've got 6 of those all together. You always keep them in a little pack. And they just float around. Oh, there they are under the log. They're again ground crew. They clean up. They don't really eat anything living. They just eat whatever's on the ground. Really, really fun character. Great to watch. I then have my favourites, the Bristlenose Plecos. That's the daddy. That's the boy. They are fascinating. This is a Bristlenose Catfish, sucker type fish. They float around and mainly eat the algae from the glass and on any surface like the wood and the rocks. That's the dad. I don't know where the girl is, but there's a female in here of roughly the same size. And they do breed quite often, and you'll have lots of babies, as I do. So they actually had about 30 babies in total. You can see they're all around here, intermingled. I've actually sold most of the babies. I've kept 6 of them in here, but I will have to move them out at some point to avoid any fighting, unfortunately. Then I've got some little shrimps. So I think these are a combination of ghost and cherry shrimp. They're fascinating to watch. They're tiny. You can see this one's a female. She's got the yellowish mark on top, which is actually eggs waiting to drop down into her belly. So there's quite a few of them in there, actually. I've been breeding them in another tank, and I've put a load in here. So you can see some more there. I must say ghost shrimp are much more interesting than cherry shrimp. The really, really red cherry shrimp just tend to sit around and do a whole lot of nothing, whereas the ghost shrimp often swim around quite a lot. You can see there's an exoskeleton that one of them has molted yesterday or last night. You just leave those in the tank because shrimp and other fish eat that, believe it or not. Nice and tasty. What else do I have in here? So that's pretty much it. Actually, oh no, there is one special guest. Now, where is he? I have to try and find, sorry, her actually. I've got what's called a red lizard catfish, but finding her is quite hard. Found him hiding under the rock. You can just about see his head there. So this is a red lizard catfish. It's an amazing looking fish, and I hope it swims out. This is a girl. Quite hard to find males apparently, but they have a really, really cool long tail. Gets on well with all the other fish. Can grow fairly large, I think up to 4 inches or so. So you wouldn't want to keep more than 1 really, or 2, but they are absolutely amazing. I don't think she's gonna swim out right now. But as you can see, in this community tank, gets on really well with everything else. Even gets on well with the other pleco catfish. There you go, you can see her coming out now. A stunning looking fish. And again, a bit of a ground crew algae cleaner. But I mean, this shot alone, it just shows you how well all these fish just get on. And they do just get on. Even the tiny, tiny little Cardinal shrimp that just flew away there, get on well with everything. Now it's worth adding as well that the shrimp are very, very small. Occasionally they do unfortunately succumb to the fish, but I must say these fish don't get that big. None of the fish in here get big enough to really pose a threat to them, although the babies, if they do breed, may be a little bit vulnerable. So that's all of the fish in this tank. It works really well and it keeps enough to look at basically, which is really important with an aquarium, but not with the tank being too crowded. So then onto the plants. So I'm useless with the names, but this one, which is nice, you just need to keep trimming it. The nice growing moss here that the shrimps absolutely love. They like to hide in there. They also breed in there. The little babies hide inside there. And it does look quite nice, but keep it trimmed. I then got this. I think this is called Rotala. It grows very, very slowly. My tank temperature is set to 35. That might be why. Maybe in warmer waters it grows quicker. I'm not sure. And then the one at the back grows seriously, seriously quick. So keep it trimmed as much as you can because it does pop out the top of the tank quite often. And then another very rapid grower is this one here, which also, as you can see, it kind of grows itself along and it will fill your tank if you don't keep it under control. So you can see another sprout here and that will carry on all the way along. So make sure you just keep it under control. In terms of the hardscaping, I've then just got a few rocks, which I actually pulled out the garden, gave them a good clean in hot water. And then some large, really heavy driftwood, which works well. Now, I did have a problem with Blackbeard Algae. You can see it along here. But what I've done is started reducing the lights. So I have the lights on about 8 hours a day, and that seems to have started it removing itself now, dying off. So basically, in terms of substrate, I've then got a mixture of fine and chunky sand, and that seems to work really well. I don't have any aqua soil in here, no soil of any type, in fact. So it just shows to have a lovely planted tank like this, you don't need to spend a load of money on unnecessary products, just as with chemicals as well. So that's it, basically. Hopefully this helps you guys thinking about what to stock in your aquariums. There's some really beautiful fish in here. I think it's great to sit back and watch. I certainly especially love these Betta fish, or Siamese fighting fish as they're also called. They are stunning looking fish. You just need to make sure you have nothing sharp in a tank because they can actually catch their fins on it. And also, of course, the schooling nature of the neon and Cardinal Tetras is really, really nice. Yeah, in general, a nice tank. And of course, not forgetting the German Ram Cichlid, probably the prettiest fish I've seen in this tank. Anyway, hope this is useful, guys. For any of you into aquariums, do comment below and yeah, enjoy this video, hopefully.